On behalf of Academic Services, in partnership with the DCPS Parent Academy, we would like to thank you for taking this time to participate in this recorded learning session, preparing for the Elementary Math End-of-Year Assessment in grades 3 through 5. During this learning session, we will be reviewing the FAST PM overview for grades 3 through 5. We'll be talking about the expectations and the different item types students will experience as they are taking the assessment, as well as resources that you can help your student at home. Our goal of this learning session is that you will gain a better understanding of the Florida Assessment for Student Thinking, also known as FAST for mathematics, as well as be able to explore available resources to best support your student at home. Let's do a quick overview of Florida's Assessment for Student Thinking. Florida's FAST PM is a progress monitoring assessment for reading and math that will be administered in pre-K through 10th grade. In grades K through 5, FAST occurs 3 times per year to track your students' progress in learning the required reading and mathematics materials within Florida's benchmarks of excellent student thinking known as our BEST standards. The assessments are taken on a computer, and the assessments are adaptive, meaning the questions get easier or more difficult depending on how the student responds. Each student will see different questions from a common question bank. Each progress monitoring session will provide a set of questions that will cover the entire year's benchmarks. Each of these progress monitoring sessions provide information your child's teachers can use to better help students succeed. In a computer adaptive test, each test question is selected by a computer algorithm that meets the grade level's test blueprint addressing the math standards and is based on the student's performance on previously administered items. A computer adaptive test is tailored to the student's ability based on whether the student responded successfully to the preceding item or sets of items. Each time a student answers a question, his or her response helps determine the next question or the next set of questions that will be presented to the student. Students in grades 3 through 5 have already taken PMs 1 and PM 2. The upcoming PM3 testing window opens on May 1st and closes on May 27th of 2026. Your student will complete this assessment during that window. Testing dates are assigned by each school testing administrator and will vary from school to school. The specific dates for your student will be communicated to you by your child's school. For the FAST PM3 assessment, grades 3 through 5 students will have one testing session for that assessment. In grades 3 through 5, students are not permitted to use calculators during the testing session. Students practice the math benchmarks in their classes without calculators. Grades 4 through 5 will be provided with a reference sheet that includes some customary, metric, and time conversions, as well as some formulas to help students solve certain item types. Performance on the FAST PM is reported as a scale score and grouped into 5 achievement levels, levels 1 through level 5. At achievement level 1, students are just beginning to access the content for the grade level. This may indicate that the student may need substantial supports to be successful at the current grade level benchmarks as well as preceding ones. At achievement level 2, the student is demonstrating a below satisfactory level of success, meaning that substantial supports may also still be needed. Students achieving a level 3 is showing demonstration of on-grade level success. The student may still need some additional supports to be successful with the current content as well as the next grade level content moving forward. Student that scores at achievement level 4 is showing proficiency. The student is likely to excel in the next grade level and may need minimum supports. A student achieving a level 5 is demonstrating mastery of the content. The student is highly likely to excel at the current grade as well as the next grade level. Now let's look at the expectations and the different item types that students will be exposed to on our FAST PM. So what is the testing experience like for your student? Well, all students must be provided with blank scratch paper, which does have a grid on the back side of it for all the FAST PM mathematics tests. For grades 4 and 5, mathematics reference sheet will also be available for students in the testing platform. Students are prohibited from having any electronic or recording devices on them during the testing session and or the breaks. This includes cell phones, smartwatches, or any type of device that could record or make sound. Within the testing platform Cambium, students do have the ability to make some adjustments to maximize their testing experience. So all students have the ability to adjust the test settings. This includes the background color, the mouse pointer, and the print size, as well as students have access to computer-based tools. This includes highlighting, striking through an item, a line reader to help focus, or zoom to enlarge items. Certain students may need some additional accommodations based off their individualized educational plan, also known as their IEP or their 504 plan. This will allow for assistive tools and technologies during testing. This could include text-to-speech, masking, or oral presentation for the computer-based test where a human reader reads the directions and the test questions to the students. Please, if your student does have an IEP or a 504, please make sure that you are aware of what their testing accommodations are and if those apply to our state testing. And you can get this by contacting your student's school teacher or their VE teacher. So in grades 3 through 5, the average number of items students will be exposed to are about 35 to 40 questions per testing session. So for the upcoming FAST PM3, they'll see between 35 and 40 questions that they'll be exposed to based off their adaptive testing. You can see the breakdown for each grade level. So in grades 3, you can see our 4 reporting categories being number sense and additive reasoning, number sense and multiplicative reasoning, fractional reasoning, and geometric reasoning, measurement, and data analysis and probability. Each of those categories could have multiple questions, but each category holds equal weight. Similarly, in grade 4, we have 3 reporting categories that all have equal weight. The first category being number sense and operations with whole numbers. Then we have number sense and operations with fractions and decimals. And finally, geometric reasoning, measurement, and data analysis and probability. In grade 5, similarly, we have 4 reporting categories again: number sense and operations with whole numbers, number sense and operations with fractions and decimals, algebraic reasoning, and geometric reasoning, measurement, and data analysis and probability. In grades 3 through 5, students see a plethora of different item types. This includes multiple choice, multi-select, equation editors, editing task choice, matching items, selectable hot text items, graphic response item displays, also known as grids, graphing items, and fraction model items. We're going to take a look a little bit deeper to see what these items look like for the student. So here's an example of a multiple choice item from each of the 3 grade levels. As you can see with multiple choice, the students select one correct answer from the options below each question stem. This item will only allow students to select one answer choice. Similar to multiple choice, students will be exposed to multi-select item types. The student is directed to select all of the correct answers from a number of options. These items are different from multiple choice items, which allow the student to select only one correct answer. Multi-select items appear in the online assessment and paper-based accommodation assessments. Here you'll see the minimum number of choices will be 2, with the maximum could be all answer options. The next item is an equation editor. In an equation editor, the student enters a number, a variable, an expression, or an equation as appropriate to the test item in a response box. The student is presented with a toolbar or keypad that includes a variety of mathematical symbols that can be used to create a response. The response box may be separate from the text of the item or may be embedded within the text of the item. For paper-based accommodations, this item type is modified, so the student writes a response in the response box. The next item type is called editing task choice. Here, the student clicks a drop-down menu containing options to complete an equation or an expression, a statement, or another component of an item. The student then selects the correct response from the drop-down menu. For our paper-based accommodations, this item type is modified. The student fills in a bubble to indicate a selection. Our next item type is a matching item. During matching items, the student checks a box to indicate whether information from a column header matches information from a row. The number of correct answer options per row or per column may vary. These items appear in the online assessment and paper-based accommodations data assessments. Now we'll look at the selectable hot text items. Here, student is directed to click on one or more correct answers from among a number of options. When the student hovers over the options, this could be a number or a phrase or an expression, that part of the item will highlight. This indicates that the text is selectable or hot. The options may be presented in various ways. It could be a list embedded within a text or in a table. The student can then click on any of the options to select it. For our paper-based accommodations, this type of item is modified and the student fills in a bubble to indicate a selection. Next, we have our graphic response item display, otherwise known as GRID. In one of our graphic response items, the student uses a point, a line, or an arrow tool to create a response on a graph. The item type may also require the student to select numbers, words, phrases, or images and use the drag and drop feature to place them into a graphic item. For paper-based accommodations, this item type will be replaced with another item type. Our next item type is graphic item. During the graphing item, the student creates a graph or a number line. The student can create a bar graph, a line plot, or a pictograph by clicking on parts of a display. The student can plot a point, create a graph, draw a shape, or construct other responses by clicking on a grid or a coordinate grid. The student can plot a point on a number line by clicking on the number line. For our paper-based accommodations, this item type will be replaced with another item type. Our final item type is called fraction model item. This is our newest item type from our Florida FAST assessment. During this fraction model item, the student creates a fraction model. The item type either provides the student a model that is already divided into equal parts or allows the student to construct a model by choosing the number of equal parts. If the student constructs a model, the item may require the student to click the plus button and or the minus buttons to choose the number of holes and or the number of parts in each hole. Then the student chooses the number of parts to shade. For paper-based accommodations, this item will be replaced with another item type. So now that we've seen each of the individual item types, it's important to know that any of the item types may be combined into a single item with multiple parts, which we call multi-interaction items. The student will interact with the different item types within a single item. Each part could be a different item type. For paper-based accommodations, different selectable response item types, i.e. the multiple choice, multi-select, or editing task choice, may be combined into a single item. Now we'll go over some of the FAST resources available, as well as ways that you can help your student at home. The Florida DOE has created a very helpful Florida statewide assessment portal that houses multiple resources to help students, parents, families, and educators prepare for our FAST assessments. We can access this at flfast.org, and you're going to click on the tile that says Florida Statewide Assessments. Once in the Florida Statewide Assessment portal, you'll click on Students and Families. Here you'll see different quick access tiles that you could access. This will have testing information, sample items, assessment resources, as well as online practice tests. Once on the Students and Families page, you'll see you have access to sample item types for either your K-2 students or practice tests for our 3 through 5 students. We definitely encourage you to have your students log on and go through and practice some of these items. The more interaction they get with different item types, the better prepared they will be on the FAST PM3. By choosing the sample test for grades 3 through 5, you'll enter a practice test. By clicking Sign In at the bottom, you'll be prompted for the grade level that you want to practice. After choosing the grade level, you will enter the test. So we wanted to share an additional helpful resources. Cambium, the provider that creates the FAST PMs, also has provided a resource to help students practice interaction with the different keypad features. This is very helpful as students don't get a ton of practice in our class environments to practice different keypads. So if you go to this website, flfast.org/resources, and in the search bar, type in equation editor, you will see that this result pops up into your equation or into your search. It's called Equation Editor Item Tutorial. Here, you will select which grade level and which type of item you want to interact and practice. It'll provide your student with step-by-step instructions that'll help them get exposure and practice inputting different items using different keypads. Two of the equation editor practices we definitely recommend are the fractions and the variables within expressions or equations. Students do need ample opportunities to practice this type of keypad input. So as you navigate and explore the Students and Families page within our FloridaFast.org website, you may notice that at the bottom of the page there are additional resources for students and families. These are DOE Best Assessment resources that can provide you with some more information about the FAST assessments. Also available is the Florida DOE Family Portal. This will provide families with information about their students' testing. To access this family portal, families will need a student access code. Your student's school will provide this access code, so please contact them directly if you wish to get the access code and be able to explore the family portal. Within the family portal, you'll get a better description of your student's performance on any of the FAST progress monitoring assessments they have taken. So you may be asking yourself, how can I support my student at home? Well, we've already explored our state resources, so now let's take a look at what Duval County Public Schools has to offer. Let's start by accessing your student's data by going to our duvalschools.org webpage. If you click the three little lines in the top right, you'll be able to access our different departments. From there, if you click under Students and Families, you'll see multiple resources available, as well as the Family Portal access and also where our blended learning resources will be. Let's look at the blended learning applications that are available to your student. This will depend on the student's grade level, what they have access to. So in grades K through 5, all students have access to iReady for our 25-26 school year, as well as McGraw-Hill's Redbird, which also is our blended learning platform for students in grades K through 5. Part of iReady, called Fluency Flight, is available for students in grades 2 through 5. We encourage you to have your students log on during opportunities at home to also extend their learning from what they're having at school and continue on with their individualized pathways that they may be practicing. So here's some additional ways you can support your student at home. Providing time on the blended learning platforms beyond just the classroom. Practicing their fluency. In students in K through 2, we encourage additional practice with addition and subtraction fluency. In grades 3 through 5, we encourage multiplication and division. This includes skip counting, counting even by fractions and decimals, and solving different algorithms to build their flexibility with mathematics. To improve your child in everyday mathematics, think about math in the real world. Are they adding and subtracting different costs when we go to the grocery store? Maybe we're doing elapsed time that it takes for a TV show to end or begin. Fractions while we're cooking. There's a lot of opportunities there as well. And measuring objects. Provide your student with a measuring tape or a ruler and have them measure different items around the house, as well as counting coins. This is a great opportunity for them to even build their own mathematical story problems. After watching this session, if you have any questions and answers, we're going to provide you with our contact information. We encourage you to please reach out if you have any questions on how to help your student be successful. Of course, your first line is always reach out to your child's teacher, but we're always available as well. We look forward to your student having a very successful testing experience this school year. So on behalf of Academic Services in partnership with the Parent Academy, we want to thank you for your time and your partnership helping your students succeed on Florida's Fast PM in mathematics.